Three men broke into a tomb at midnight, 1701, not to steal gold, but to steal a corpse that would change the course of British history. The crypt was cold, stone, the kind of dark that swallows sound, and somewhere in that darkness beneath the chapel of Henry Roman VII in Westminster Abbey, someone had opened a royal tomb. I've read the accounts myself. They are sparse, contradictory, written by men who weren't there, but the skeleton of what happened is clear enough. On a December night in 1701, a body went missing. Not just any body, the corpse of King James Roman II of England. Let me step back. James Roman II had died in exile in France 3 years earlier in 1701. He'd been forced off the English throne in 1688, what history calls the Glorious Revolution, though there was nothing glorious about it if you were James. His Protestant daughter Mary and her Dutch husband William took the crown instead. James spent his final years in Saint-Germain-en-Laye, outside Paris, a broken man, waiting for a restoration that would never come. But his death didn't end the problem. It multiplied it, because James had a son, young James Francis Edward Stuart, a boy born after his father's exile, raised in France with a legitimate claim to the English throne. The Jacobites, that's what they called themselves, from the Latin Jacobus, believed this boy was the rightful king, and they weren't going to accept William and Mary's rule lying down. Here's where the story gets strange. After James Roman II's death, his body was brought back to England. Brought home, you might say. It was placed in Westminster Abbey, the final resting place of monarchs, in a vault beneath the chapel. A proper burial, a proper end, or so everyone thought. Then came the rumors, whispers in coffee houses and taverns across London. Jacobite sympathizers had stolen the body. They'd taken James Roman II's corpse and hidden it where nobody knew. Some said they planned to use it as a rallying point, a symbol, a martyr's remains to inspire insurrection. Others claimed they wanted to move it to France, to sacred ground, beyond the reach of Protestant England. The evidence for what actually happened is thin, I'll be honest about that. Historians have spent centuries arguing over whether the theft even occurred, but the best accounts suggest this much. Yes, the tomb was opened. Yes, the body was disturbed. Whether it was fully removed, whether it was moved to the continent, whether Jacobites were involved at all, that's where the certainty ends. What we do know is this. In 1712, 11 years after the supposed theft, church officials opened the vault to investigate. They found the tomb disturbed. The coffin had been tampered with, but James's remains, or what was left of them, were still there. Or were they? The records are vague, almost deliberately vague. It's the kind of silence that makes a historian's skin crawl. Some scholars argue the whole thing was fabricated, a Jacobite propaganda campaign designed to make their cause seem active, dangerous, relevant. Create the myth of a stolen king, and suddenly you've got a symbol. You've got a story that spreads. You've got people talking about your movement in ways they wouldn't otherwise. Others insist it happened. That Jacobite agents, loyal Catholics who never accepted the Protestant succession, did indeed breach Westminster Abbey. That they spirited the body away to France, where it remained hidden in a convent or monastery, a secret that died with its keepers. The French connection makes sense. James had spent his exile there. His son was being raised there. Why wouldn't they want the father's remains? But here's the thing that strikes me most about this story. It didn't matter whether they actually stole the body. What mattered was that people believed they might have. The Jacobite cause was already dying by 1701. The young pretender would never reclaim his throne. The movement would collapse after a series of failed rebellions. But the myth of the stolen king, that lived on. It's the kind of story that tells you something crucial about power and memory. A living king can be defeated, his army can be routed, his cause can be abandoned by the people. But a dead king, a missing king, a king whose body has vanished into the night, that's something else entirely. That's a ghost story, and ghosts are harder to kill. We'll never know for certain what happened in Westminster Abbey that December night. The truth is locked away with the men who opened that tomb. But the uncertainty itself is the real story. Because in a world where royal bodies can vanish, where history can be rewritten by whoever controls the narrative, power becomes something you can't quite hold. The Jacobite cause died with the last pretender. Their claims to the throne were never revived. But the legend of the stolen king lingered in the margins of history, a footnote in documents, a whisper in biographies, a question that historians still can't answer with confidence. And maybe that's the point. History isn't always about what happened. Sometimes it's about what people needed to believe happened. Subscribe. Every week we uncover the stories the history books buried and the conspiracies that shaped kingdoms.